Welcome to the Ruby Hour, a podcast produced by our company Ruby Riot Creatives. We specialize in video production and content marketing, and we're based in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm Shelby Ring.
And I'm Madeline Rager.
This podcast is devoted to interviewing extraordinary people doing extraordinary things and nuggets of wisdom that they've learned along their journey. Also, just want to give you a heads up, we have potty mouths and we're talking about inappropriate things. So thank you so much for joining us for another hour of the Ruby Hour sessions. So I'm your host, Shelby Ring, and I have the amazing Rachel Starling with me. Rachel, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
So the whole premise of this podcast is to be able to feature the people that are behind the scenes of making experiences great. And so I have a secret agent of hospitality here. I'm just going to read you a little description about who Rachel is and why she's freaking awesome. So Rachel is the sales and event manager at Parcel 32, based out of Charleston, South Carolina. Parcel 32 is inspired by the culinary and craftsman traditions of the city, as well as highlights of the current outstanding farmers, producers, purveyors, and artisans who are working towards a more sustainable world. Parcel 32 incorporates the flavors and layered heritage, I love that, of the coastal South in a refined yet relaxed environment that reflects the building's history as well as the modern influences of today. When Rachel isn't chatting with brides about their wedding vision or sampling their new menu items from chef, you might find her on the beach or spending time with her rescue pup Dakota and her boyfriend Justin. So, all right, so you're freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming
thank you so much.
being a part of our day today. So we had Sean on the podcast, and people got to look a little bit of what's under the hood of the business of Parcel 32 and the amazing food. And personally, anytime I have any special occasion or event, add that cheeseburger that y'all offer.
Smash burger.
It's like anytime, it's like we love, it's hands down my favorite restaurant in Charleston.
Thank you.
So, and that's how we ultimately crossed paths. So I would love for you to share your experience of how did you get rocking and rolling in Charleston, as well as tied in with Parcel 32.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome that you had Sean here yesterday, because that just gives you already such a good insight of the restaurant and the overall, creative culinary design that is all behind that. But I grew up right outside of DC, in Maryland, kind of a small little town, Gaithersburg, Maryland. My parents still live up there. I love the city. DC has always been my home, so I try to get up there as much as possible. And then I came down here in 2013, and I went to college at Charleston, graduated in 2017 with a business administration and hospitality degree. And then fell in love with the city, knew I couldn't leave, so I was like, okay, so let's, kind of start my journey here. Parcel 32 falls under Patrick Properties Hospitality Group, so we are, as you are familiar with, the William Macon House, Lowndes Grove, the theater, and Parcel 32.
Yep.
So we have all those beautiful properties, and I actually started as an assistant position there with Patrick Properties, and then I kind of moved into the sales department and got to sell a lot of those weddings and work with a lot of amazing clients, and was under some really great sales managers that taught me a lot. And then Parcel, as you may not know, remember Fish.
Yes.
So we all remember Club Fish. Still around, people, so come holler.
Come on.
But that kind of we rebranded and turned into Parcel about 1.5 years ago, and that's kind of when we were, private events is something that some businesses really like. Some businesses really kind of want to just keep with the restaurant, keep with the tourism, keep with all those people coming in, and we wanted to, we started with that, and then realized that people really wanted to have private events at Parcel, and they really loved the space. So then we rebranded the Parlor, which is where you all got to eat, and
awesome.
It's beautiful up there. It's got the most coziest furniture up there, the most beautiful decor.
Fluffy pillows, y'all. Fluffy pillows.
And you just want to take a nap. I have taken a nap in there.
Yes.
It's
oh my gosh.
and then we have the piazza as well that overlooks King Street.
Yeah.
And it's the only house on King Street that does have the piazza. There's all the ones down on Queen Street, but on King Street we are the only single-story home. So that's awesome. So when the Parlor came about, we realized that those events were really going to start taking off. So I got the opportunity to kind of transition out of the Willie Macon House in Lowndes Grove and move into doing private events at Parcel. So that was super exciting, and I was so grateful when that kind of position, I kind of created my own position, because I knew that there was a lot of potential in growth with any department, but especially one that had private events. So I knew that was kind of the route that I wanted to go. So I was grateful that I had the backing of all my previous bosses with Patrick Properties, and they let me kind of pursue that. So I'm excited. We've been doing it for about, I guess, I've been in that position for about 7 months. We're doing private events for a good 4, and we're doing great. So I'm thrilled that people are having a great time and people are talking about it. And that's actually bringing a lot of more clients to me, which I'm super grateful for. So word of mouth is huge. I mean, we all know how small this city is. So I've been lucky to have people come and get the business that I've gotten based on just word of mouth. So it's been great.
And the whole space, I mean, it's like, I love it because Parcel 32 is such a, truly like a hidden gem. It's not so overt and storefront, you have that beautiful, greenery wall, and like coming into the space. I mean, I think that it's like the moment that you walk into that cove, it's an immersive experience of, and I mean, oh my gosh, like, I can't think of the server's name. We have one server that we work with so often, and like I guess we have an amazing connection, given that my partner Chris
gives us some of the best oysters ever.
Sells all delicious ass oysters. And just the fact that that's like one of the perks of being with him, is just getting to have these incredible experiences with the staff. And I mean, just it's like every element of our experience with Parcel's always been so beautiful. And just the food is like, I love especially getting to chat with Sean, and if anybody missed that episode, go back and listen to him. It was awesome. He's so good.
I'm quite the klutz.
That's okay. I like twisted my ankle earlier trying to like get out of this. We're in good company here. But just the whole experience is like so inspiring, and like the menu constantly rotating. But like the upstairs space, like I've seen several events around town where it was like, oh yeah, like on the second floor of Parcel, and I'm like, okay, what is that? But like seriously, it is like such. I just think of like how many wedding clients that we work with that want to have like a great rehearsal dinner space, or like welcome parties, and it's like it's in the middle of downtown, and the aesthetic is like it's clean and fresh and like inspiring. It's cozy, and then it's also like you feel those like southern roots. You feel the Charleston energy. We
really wanted that to be about when you come into Parcel, we really want you to think that you're at your own home, and you're bringing in your guests. So like that's why these relationships that we've created with all of our industry partners are so essential, because we want them to bring their family and share our craft with the people that they love. So we want that, and that's why, when you first walk in, you get that people take pictures and don't even eat there. So we get the nice little, like, people pop in and they're like, oh, this is beautiful. And so they take their picture, and then they come in, and then we encourage them to have a drink either in the bar area. And you'll have to come in, because we just did a little bit of a swaparoo and moved that big community table that's in the kind of in the first window when you see it.
Yes.
Moved that around and actually kind of rotated into making that front window more of like a lounge kind of area, so you can literally sit.
We're gonna go lounge.
You gotta lounge. Come get some wine.
All right, we're gonna go Pounce Cafe, and then we're gonna go lounge.
Yes.
Okay.
Please. And but it's beautiful. So now we're kind of like, that window on King Street is huge, and you can see right in. So we really wanted that to be prominent, so people could see it. So we kind of did a little bit of redesigning this weekend. Went to U-Haul and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't need
girl power. Hashtag girl power.
And so that was fun. So we did that. So we're excited. So so when we encourage people to have kind of a drink, kind of get to experience that, and then either go upstairs. We love the parlor for like after dinner drinks, and like just being able to really sit on like that romantic piazza and overlook. And especially right now with this weather, you can't.
Oh my gosh,
it's like the dreamiest spot. So we love it. And with events, it's people are just, it's such a transformable space. So you can have a rehearsal dinner, and you can have a bridal luncheon, we can have baby showers, we can have welcome party, you know, we can do whatever. And those tables, those wooden tables that are beautiful, they're actually transformable. So it's the little cocktail tables, and they turn up into like more to give you that rectangle vibe. So that's how we make it a plated dinner kind of style.
Okay.
So we're spoiled with the furniture and the aesthetic in there already. It's not hard to sell at all.
Dude, I mean, it's the like bones of the environment are like so brilliant as starting points.
We're very spoiled, and we're very lucky to have the designers that came in and designed it. And Whitney Reitz, she's our designer, and she's fantastic. So she's local in Mount Pleasant, so she's great for sure.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So when you were growing up, okay, like, were you someone that leaned towards, did you always appreciate, like, you know, were you that kid that was like, okay, we're gonna do this experience and we're gonna do this, or I want to, like, you know, what was, like, you know, you as a child, like, I loved that, you know, just in the onboarding, you know, that you said, like, I'm secretly an introvert.
I am secretly an introvert.
I love it. So what was your journey?
Yeah, so my parents have been extremely supportive of me throughout my whole life. And I'm just very grateful for them. But I went to an all-girls school for 14 years of my life, like junior kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. And I really learned kind of just about leadership and being around, you know, growing up with all women around me, knowing that we have a say and we have a lot of power. And I think that's been a conversation that's been happening more than it used to, like, 15 years ago.
Definitely.
So that's something that has been a huge, you know, I came into, you know, college and high school really being able to have a voice, but
awesome.
Which is great because a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah.
So being around all those women, that inspired me. It was great. I learned a lot, and I was able to kind of grow my career with that. You know, I think kind of with everything that my kind of moving through college wasn't always easy. Like, I definitely, like, college is kind of hard for everybody. But I made a lot of really good friends, and those are the people that have really kind of helped me the most and kind of get through all of my my life journeys and everything like that. But Charleston is definitely not an easy city to live in all the time. It's definitely, like, you know, the industry it's so small, everyone knows everybody.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, that's been kind of a journey in itself, just kind of learning your way through life. And I think I realized that I was better off with the people that I was closest to, and I didn't really like the going out scene and didn't really like to be out there a lot. So I think that I really am an introvert. Like, I have my core group of friends that have been with me the most, and then kind of just, I'm kind of like that. I just, like, I'm kind of low-key an introvert. But when it comes to clients and, like, meeting new people, I love it. And I think that getting to hear what people are passionate about and sharing that with me, that's kind of helped me figure out what, you know, what I want the weddings that are here to happen, and kind of how I want those to go, and everything like that. So that's kind of been fun, and I'm definitely not scared to, like, meet new people.
Yeah.
But
so it's like, do you feel like you have a secret superpower of, you know, when it comes to, because I know it's like when we do weddings, you know, there's like a certain energy that, like, I have.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I get in that zone of, I know, like, all right, we're holding space for, like, this couple to have an amazing day, and, you know, we're, like, just really supportive, and, like, you know, I've like ingrained that, you know, of knowing how to channel that certain energy that's like really positive. And would you say, like, in your own line of work, it's like, because then, you know, then I come home and I might be like, oh, I'm so worn out.
You're like, I need a break.
Just so whooped. But yeah, would you say, like, you know, having that secret superpower of, like, tapping into, you know, that energy that works for you?
Yeah, I would say that I have a pretty calm demeanor. Like, when things, you know, are happening, or if, you know, there's a problem or a bride's not happy or something, I feel like I have a pretty calming sense where I can, like, try to just be like, okay, let's take a deep breath, and, like, let's think that, like, remind us that everything's gonna be okay, like, that kind of. So I think I've always been told that I'm kind of like a mom. Like, I have very mom-like characteristics. And I take care of everybody, and that's just kind of been my motto, definitely, for sure. I always want to make sure that everybody else is okay.
Yeah.
And that comes into my work a lot, taking care of my staff and taking care of my team and making sure that everybody's okay. But yeah, that's probably been the most eye-opening thing for me, is just being around people that that I learn from, and that hopefully they learn from me. And that's been a huge part of my life for sure. I've always been in the food and beverage industry, and I never was somebody that I knew like wanted to sit at a desk for my whole life. And I love having a day that's every day's different.
Yeah.
And I think that with the industry that I'm in, every day is different, and I love that. And I've met the coolest people. I mean, I met you just randomly on a single night, and I've met a ton of people, you know, that have come in just for drinks, and then I realized that they're this, that, and who, and I'm like, whoa, you know, like it's a great place, and that's always been fun for me to be able to meet new people like that, and I'm grateful for that for sure.
That's so cool. I know it's like I think of when I worked on day charters where we would like, you know, we would bring people out, and I mean it was essentially like a restaurant with sails, maybe like a sailboat, and but I loved, like, it's almost like a muscle, the being outgoing and, like, you know, approaching people you don't know, and like kind of like leading in. Like, I've found that when I'm away from roles like that, it's like that whatever like mental muscle, it atrophies, you know, and then I'm like, oh no, I gotta like go over there and like I gotta like ask questions or something, I don't know, and even like doing calls, you know, with brides, like we do most of our consultations like over the phone, and like I'll put them in my headphones and I transcribe everything so I can remember details, but like it's like if it's been a while,
it's hard.
It kind of cripple. Like I find myself being like I eat a lot of snacks to like when I'm stressed out, being like, I don't know. Oh gosh, like getting into that outgoing presence of like, okay, I want to like, you know, really like facilitate a great conversation, get lots of good, you know, listen for what the client's looking for, and it's like that muscle of
there's a lot of like you know, kind of like a little bit of pressure too, of kind of like, you know, you want it to go so well for them, and you really want them to, you know, obviously you want the business and you want that reciprocation, but you also want to create a really good relationship with this bride so you can have productive conversations in the next year to come. So that's, you know, that's been huge, and I think people definitely can pick up on energy, and I think that's something that I try to relay and try to keep a positive energy towards everybody that I meet, just because you never know, and you never know what that person's going through, and the smallest thing could be the biggest thing to somebody else. And I think that's a big lesson for me. Like, you never know what's the most important to somebody, so always be respectful of their budget, always be respectful of their wishes, and always be respectful of what the biggest things that they want is, and try to put that aside. And I think that sometimes we know that like moms of the brides sometimes like to take over, and I think that that's always been, I mean, I've been in the middle of fights, I've been,
oh my gosh, total like fire put out,
so it's definitely like conflict resolution is huge, and I think that's another big part of this industry, and trying to keep everyone happy. And it's hard sometimes, you know, there's a lot of pressure underneath of it, and that's kind of the whole like trying to manage your stress and trying to remember that emails will be there in the morning and you can take a break, and you know.
I want you to speak to that, of like, you know, because I think it's a unique role that you play where you are in a, you know, you're in the restaurant, like Parcel 32 is a restaurant space, you know, that you do have, you know, dinner service, but then you're also like, you know, then when you're actually doing events. And so like my, you know, a big heart value that I have with this podcast is to really feature the people that are behind the scenes, that are making these amazing experiences happen, and look into, you know, like, who are they as a person? So like, what's been your journey of like keeping, I mean, like anybody working in a restaurant, I'm like, you have thick skin and I admire you. Like, it's just like, it is a struggle, right? Of just, you're going like nonstop. So what's supported you in the roles you've played in such an industry where you have to be on constantly?
Well, the biggest thing for me is I love the people that I work with, and they are a primary reason that I go to work every day. Like, just knowing that I want us to succeed together as a team. And obviously, you all know, being able to work with one another, you found each other. And I was kind of newer, you know, I came on more recently to the team, and I definitely was, they were always very, very close. And I definitely knew that I had to earn their trust and their respect. And we've had a little bit of, we had some changes in turnover, as all restaurants do, so it was just kind of like getting a staff to learn and respect you, and that's always been, but they're fantastic. And in any place that I've ever worked, one of the biggest reasons that I stayed, and one of the biggest reasons that I've always wanted to be at that place, was with the people that I was working with. And I feel like I've been very, very lucky with every job that I've had, where I've always had somebody that was like a mentor or a leader, or somebody that I could really look up to kind of help me if I, needed, just with learning the ropes of a new job, or just learning the ropes of running a floor, like just, little stuff like that. Yeah. So, but I love my team, and, it's just learning to conflict resolution with them, and also with our chefs and culinary, and trying to find everyone's so passionate, and that's something that you also don't get to find. And Parcel is lucky where we have people that are in our kitchen that are so passionate about what they do, and teach us every day about new local foods and how to, what pairs with what. So having that is huge. So that makes it just, you love going to work every day because you get to learn something from them. And that's been, Sean and John Coleman over there, they're just great, and we've learned a lot from them, so we're lucky. But the team itself, you need to have a team that you can trust and that can operate with or without you. And I think when I kind of came on board, I was kind of more as the floor manager and like helping them, just with the operations, and just, getting our team being able to just run the floor, just run a restaurant. And before I was doing more of the events. And I'm really grateful for that, because I think that I really got to know them before just, a new manager coming in and being like this, and they have no idea. So I'm lucky that was the route that I got to go, because I think that really helped me, and I got to learn the overall operation before trying to nail a new
where you
operation.
kind of you come in. I know I always hated when there would be like like a manager comes in from wherever, and like you're like waiting or bartending, and you're like, I'm sorry, who are you again?
Exactly.
It's a hard dynamic.
Like I know how that goes, and I've been a server, I've dished, I've run expo. I'm not great on the line. I definitely can't cook, but I will do whatever needs to be done to help. And that's always been my drive, and I try to like instill that into like my staff and other people, and just remind them to be passionate about what they want to do. And if you don't, if you're not happy at the end of the day, like, you have to find something that makes you happy, because this is your life, and this is the one life that you have. And I think that's something that I try to tell everyone, like, even if you are just working in a restaurant, like, take it as like you're passionate about it. Take it as, find the oyster that you love and you want to sell it. Just find like that one piece that makes you happy to be here every day, and like pitch that to your guests and make them excited to be here. So that's just been a teaching, a lot of teaching and a lot of educating. But they also teach you every day. So it's almost like you're kind of like a teacher. Like, it's kind of like your students, and you're kind of like, but they're fantastic, and I'm lucky to be around the people that I work with every day, for sure.
Well, and even I loved, and I really didn't realize this about Patrick Properties, but that the business model within Patrick Properties is that it's so supportive of really letting people step into roles where you can feel autonomous, and also I know, like Sean had said, like, a lot of the roles at Parcel are paid like higher than a lot of the other places that you might find around town.
We definitely, we understand that a big driver in life is money, and sometimes people have to, we understand that there's critical positions, like a dishwasher, like a bar back, like a bartender, server, everybody has a critical position in a restaurant, and that's how a restaurant is so successful, based on those hidden people behind the scenes. And I think that's something that we are very fortunate that Patrick Properties backs us on, because we're able to fill these positions and keep them, we're able to hire dishwashers full time, we're able to offer them benefits, we're able to just letting them know that they have an HR department. Like, a lot of places don't have that. And I think Patrick Properties is it's an amazing company with so many departments that are there to help. Like, we have a great connections with a lot of lawyers, and they have helped us through, if we had personal questions or whatever, they're there for us. And if, it's just nice to be able to have an outlet for everybody. Like, HR is huge. That's so hard to find, and it's being able to like have somebody that you can talk to and go to about management problems, or just, you know, you're having a bad day, or just anything. And that's been the best part for sure for Patrick Properties, is having all these departments that are there to help you, especially in a new role.
Yes.
Especially trying to figure that all out.
Yes. A quote that you wrote of something that really inspired you is, nothing is bolder than celebrating who you are in a world that does not always accept you. And I believe that's by Blair. Oh, I'm totally going to butcher this. Imani?
I believe so, yeah. So there's a blog. She's not a blogger. Miguel's wife she has an Instagram, and follow her. It's at her name's Nazi, and then her last name, which I'm gonna completely butcher, but and she's a really good role model on just for women, and she has her own podcast, but she shared that a couple weeks ago, and it just kind of stuck with me. And I think in this day of age where the world is very hard for a lot of people to be living in right now, and I think that there's a lot of different opinions and a lot of different people that feel like they can't be who they are, and that's really sad. And I think that just kind of stuck to me, because when you're able to accept yourself, and when you're able to really show who you are to a world that's not always nice, that is truly how you grow, and how you grow to love yourself. And that's been a huge message, I think. As I said, I was lucky to be around all women growing up, but they taught me that it was okay to be, you know, to be who I am, and to speak whatever I wanted. And that's been, you know, that's speak your mind, speak what you feel, speak how you know, who you want to be. And I think a lot of people are scared to do that. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's kind of the world that we're in. But I think if, you know, people that are passionate about each other, and that just know that love is ultimately the greatest human mess. It is. I hate to, it really is. Like, but you know, I think as more people start spreading that, and that will make the world better. Whether whoever's in charge, it'll be, you know, and that's the biggest message I think that people need to focus on, is just reminding yourself like who you are, and what your morals and what your values are. And just if they're different from other people's, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's what you believe in and what you're passionate about. So I think that's something that I've tried to instill in myself and remind myself of, because it's so important. It's so important, especially with mental health. And
well, like how do you know, just, I mean, we were speaking about this before we started recording, but like being in food and bev, and just the reality of like when you're working really, you know, long hours, late hours, and it's like it's such a conducive environment. I mean, in my experience of like you get off your shift, and then it's like you have your shift drink, or you know, you're like, and it's just like, and then you like wake up the next day. I mean, you're
like, oh my god, it's 5 a.m. What am I doing?
Yeah, you know, and I'm like, and I'm eating chicken fingers, and I'm not even mad about it. Like, it's just so conducive to just some like challenging habits. So what's been your journey with that, and like what's like worked in your life? So
I mean, like, you know, this industry, we're so food and beverage heavy. I mean, this is the #1 tourist industry destination, whatever, of the world right now. So we already are getting an influx of people. So people want to eat, they want to go out. So there's more restaurants being built, there's more people that are trying to fill them, and there's just not enough bodies. So that's a whole other staffing crisis in Charleston. Yes. But you know, with mental health, for sure, like trying to remind yourself of healthy habits. Like I went to college here, I grew up here, I know how crazy it was, and we were such a bar city. So everybody wanted to work in a bar, and that's how I started. I used to, when I was 21, 22, I was working at a bar over in North Charleston, and I would literally go to school from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay. I would go to work at an internship, because I was like, you know, trying to like get a job. Get ahead in life, yes. And I would do that from like 12 to 5, and then I would go and I would close the bar from 6 to 2 a.m. What? And I would do this 4 to 5 days a week. Oh my gosh. And like, when did you sleep? Sleep wasn't like never. What sleep? Oh my gosh. So I was young, and I was living that life, and I knew that, I mean, I knew that that's not, you can't do that. And not that I was like going out afterwards or anything, but just like the hours of work, and not being able to take time for yourself, and just even getting an hour yoga session in or something, just to like kind of just check out a little bit. So I mean, in Charleston, that's something that I think the scene here, it's a late scene. People work late, they get off late, and it's just trying to find a healthy outlet of, don't go out and get a drink, or maybe you go out and try to have water or something.
Yeah.
I don't
or
know.
all the mocktails.
Right,
Mocktails
exactly.
are like popping up.
They are. And just trying to, be around people that are just like wanting to go home and just hang out, watch a movie or something.
Yeah.
And that's been, I think, it's just getting used to the city and seeing how it adapts. But I think the more that people talk about it, I think the more that people are understanding that they need to, make sure that they're getting sleep and making sure that they check out and making sure that they're taking care of themselves over other people. And that's what mental health is trying to put, your own sanity first, and your own, making sure that you're okay. Because if you're not okay, then you're not going to be able to help other people, or you're not going to be able to be yourself. And it's just, you have to be healthy, and that includes your mind, not just being healthy.
Yeah, it's not even so much. I feel like that just like blew my mind a little bit of like, that it's like, it's not just about like, okay, get however many hours of sleep, do what you're supposed to do, show up to this thing, whatever. But it's also like, what do you need to do to like find balance or find a little bit of restoration so that you have that energy to bring back into the next week or the next day? What do you feel like what are some of your favorite things that, what's fun? Like, as an introvert, as someone that's like, in an outgoing role, what's something that's like, when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that's a good time.
That's a fun time. Well, I'm around water in Charleston. I love being at the beach, and I love just being able to especially being in Charleston where the weather is like, I can still go to the beach like pretty right now.
Yeah,
I pretty much can still go.
Yes.
But just being able to like mentally check out, and just like, I love like when I can't sleep, like I literally listen to like the ocean waves, and like that's like my calming like noise. So I love being able to just kind of go out there and sit, whether I'm reading, whether I'm just like listening to music. But that's been always like a very calming piece of my life. I love being around water. And I love just being able to like, I love local shopping. And I think that, like Charleston is being able to like focus on the vendors that are selling Charleston local artists, creating art that they've done here. And I love finding like new places that are popping up and trying to like just go and visit them. And I went to a little place out in Mount Pleasant, and I found like a beautiful piece of artwork, and it was like on sale, and she was just like so nice, and it's just like I literally would have never gone in there except it said like local outside.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And it was beautiful, and it was just like everything was from Charleston, and it's just like finding those little places around here. So I love doing that, and that. It's kind of fun. Like sometimes like people are like, oh, I don't want to go shopping, or I don't want to go out like by myself. And I think that people should embrace sometimes being by themselves, and just like, just do something for you. Like, don't worry about if your boyfriend or if your friend wants to go, just like go for you. If you want to do it, go do it. So I think that's something that, I've reminded myself to do too. Just like if I want to go walk on the Battery, or if I want to, walk the market or anything, like I can do that, and I can take time, and I can take 10 minutes. And even at work, sometimes you just like a nice little walk around the block. Sometimes just like clears your head, and it's just knowing when that you need to like take a break and take a step back. And that's just that's life. Like just knowing when to like take a break and take a step back. People need to like remind themselves that everything's going to be okay the next day, and it's still going to be there.
And even like, that's so funny that you said the thing of like embrace things to just go do something by yourself, and like that's something like
that's my introvert right there.
Yes.
Coming out.
Yes, but it's also, for me, like I've been working with an amazing coach that has like transformed my life, Jessica, and she, one thing that we addressed was like, what do we make things mean? And I made it mean for the longest time. Like I would want to go see a movie, but I wouldn't go by myself, because I made it mean that if I go by myself, I don't have any friends, like that. I'm that lonely, sad girl. And so it was like a thing to work up to, of embracing, what am I stalking my stories of, what do I make this mean? And then rewrite that to be like, you know what, I really want to go see that, and
Absolutely.
and I care about myself enough to like go take that time and
Absolutely.
like whatever, like who cares what anybody else is doing? You're not even like hanging out with somebody in a movie anyways, you know, like you're like looking this way,
Right,
and
you're supposed to be just like yeah, exactly.
but it was like a little challenge of every day to pick something that I mean, maybe not like every day, it'd be like once a week, do an activity, take myself out to dinner, or like, you know, go
try somewhere new.
Yeah, just and it's like it's kind of nice because you're like,
fun.
I'm gonna buy whatever I want.
I can ball out for a minute.
I'm gonna get all the snacks and like, you know, just whatever the experience is, and then not making it mean something because you're doing something by yourself. I feel like it's almost like a cultural thing of like, oh, how sad she's doing that by herself. Oh, and it's like, no, like,
well, absolutely. And people, that's how, you know, people get in their own heads, and that's where anxiety forms. It's like this, you know, like, oh, it's not the norm. It's not, and that's kind of like that quote, like, nothing is bolder than who you are. So, like, celebrate that. And, like, yeah you want to go watch the weirdest movie out there? Who cares? Like, whatever.
Let your freak flag fly.
Really, like, we're all freaks at the end of the day. So, like,
yes.
Like,
oh my gosh.
You know, no, I completely agree. I think that's a great motto. Just people live to be themselves and live your own life, and don't be afraid of it, and embrace it.
One of my favorite things, because you said walking the Battery, I've lived all throughout Charleston and like all the different areas, so like Mount P, West Ashley, whatever, like you know, and like where I'm on James Island now, but I had a hot minute. I love the island. You know, it was like and John's Island too. I mean,
I love all of them.
Making all the areas, but I lived downtown off Buffane for like a hot minute, and I loved. Well, it was kind of it was a love-hate thing because I would love to go early, like Sunday morning, to go for a run. This is gonna not end well, but go for a run and like be able to catch those like beautiful golden rays like through downtown with all the churches and like amazing.
Oh, I know it.
But the downfall is there's no public bathrooms like while you're on your run. So I'm like, and I'm like far away from my house. Like no businesses are open right now. Like, no bushes. This is all curated property. Anyway, my second half of getting back to my house was much faster paced than my going out. Like, oh, glorious golden rays, and then I'm like,
like, I gotta go.
But you know, the positive thing of that being like, go during a time when the businesses are open, perhaps. But like, to go and walk and just like take in how beautiful our city is.
Absolutely.
And that it's like you don't have to like screw the nightlife element of it of, oh, you gotta go out and whatever. It's like check out like the morning, the early bird, or the any other time where it's not the like stereotypical, oh, this is the best part of Charleston. Right. You know, can you enjoy it in a downtime or a
try like the 6 a.m. instead of like the 2 a.m.
You
like,
know.
I completely agree with that. And I work out in a gym over at Mount Pleasant, and when I drive back, I'm driving over the bridge and like hitting all the bridges to go back to James Island.
Yes.
But it's like it's like literally the most beautiful time. Like when you're, especially the James Island Bridge, like that is, I think, almost better than the Ravenel Bridge sometimes.
Yes.
Because you see the sunset and all the boats and the marina. And like it's just like it's so surreal.
Yeah, that is the best bridge. Yeah, I was just like, wait, which one? Yeah.
And like from either direction, and it's just it like, you know, it reminds. When I was in DC, I think I took DC for granted because, you know, I had, you know, how many people come to DC to see the tourism and all the history that's there. And I think I definitely took DC for granted, and I think I've started to take Charleston for granted, and I'm trying to like not. I'm trying to realize like what I have around me and like all these things, because I know that, you know, I love Charleston, but I don't know if it's going to be my forever home.
Sure.
And that's partially just because I want to go, you know, be able to take care of my parents, and they still live in the city. Sure. So, you know, with that, but definitely trying to remind myself of all the beauty that's here, and even just like right outside of Charleston, like all the John's Island is beautiful. Yeah. Like all the like the cool ass places that are over there. Like it's just, you know, there's so much more. And I think that, you know, if you decided, you know, instead of on a Friday night, like go Friday night to Saturday morning, go like camp, or go like you know, hike somewhere, or go, you know, and even like other places in the mountains in South Carolina, like just trying to like get away for a little bit. And I think having staycations is definitely important, and I think that that's something that's kind of people are trying to do more of, because you realize that like for me, I'm having trouble doing like the most basic tasks, like send in my insurance papers, like put them in the mailbox, Rachel. Like it's not that hard.
Walk out there. I know.
Just do it. Like instead I'm like, you know, which isn't, it's not bad or anything. It's just like sometimes the most like the things that seem so easy are just like the things that I'm like not doing. I'm doing, you know, responding to a client or at work, you know, just all these things. And that's another part of just like doing the things that you need to do as yourself and being able to check out. And
I know. I like went to, you know, we took yesterday, and this is a Tuesday for listeners, whatever. And just the fact that, you know, that we're like tying in, like I had an early day yesterday where I was like, okay, I'm going to take self-care, went and got a massage. And then I was like, wait, like it's like 3 p.m. Like I should go pick up my prescription right now. Like just like practical stuff where I'm like, I don't have time to do that. But it was like, I'm going to walk around the Harris Teeter and make myself a salad. Like practical, simple. Absolutely. Like I never take, I'm like, when am I ever in that scenario? You know, I don't build my week out like that very often. I'm like, Madeline, help me. Go get snacks for me. Yeah, that's normally.
Remind me to eat.
Yeah, you know, so it's just a different, like, to give yourself, like, space to be bored almost. Like
definitely. And like you need that downtime. You need to be able to like, you know, just check out and do whether I go to Whole Foods and I like to run around and like be like, oh, I have all this money that I don't have. But
you're like, I will take the chocolate almond butter. That sounds really nice. Yeah.
I'll take the sparkling today.
Yeah, I'd be like, LaCroix is not that expensive, but like, find
the finest wine or the finest water. Like,
yes.
Like,
I will have the fancy water today. Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm have all the money and I'll
do a little splurge, little deluxe water, H2O. Yeah.
Exactly.
H2O, comma, O. Yeah, no, it's like, those little practical moments of, that's been a recent thing for me. I'm like doing this like Ayurvedic course where I'm like learning like, am I hot-natured, cold-natured, or do I like to stand still a lot? That's a terrible explanation of Pitta Kapha and Vata. But anyway.
I dig it.
Yeah, so, but one thing was like the different energy centers we have in our bodies. This is like such a like train off in another direction. But that, you know, there's areas of our body, like our skin correlates. This is so funny. I'm going into this, but like.
No, I so love it.
So it's like our skin and our like lymph nodes and whatnot, that part of our body correlates with our layer of security. So it's like this flesh suit separates me from you, from this wall. It's like a practical thing of this separates our inside of who we are with anything else beyond ourselves. And so if you have a lot of like skin inflammation happening, there may or may not be an imbalance of, you know, maybe there's too much of you're giving out, and maybe there's not enough, you know, protecting for you. And so I was recognizing like, oh shoot, like what in my life, to think of, you know, how could I give myself more security? What would that look like? And being a business owner where I'm like, okay, make sure like everything's rocking and rolling for payroll, processing, utilities, growth, sales, like all these things. And it's like, I don't always put myself in that, like, well, what does just being taking care of my own energy truly look like? Well, how could I create more of a mental fortress for myself of something so practical? What would that be? And it was like to slow down enough to just like to be more thoughtful around what I say yes to in life, which that's like, everybody says that, oh, you know, efficient in your schedule, fine. But like practically being so thoughtful of like, who do you give your time to? What do you spend your time doing? And like, could I block out, you know, blocks of time to like paint one of those 6 paintings, like, you know, canvases I have in the corner of my like office or whatever, like the
whatever you want to do,
craft. And so that's a practical way of like building security, of like securing my time and my bandwidth to do things worth doing.
Well, you know, I mean, you're obviously have been a very successful business owner yourself, and you know that like it's just being able to, like, for me, time management has been like a something that I learn every day. What is time management?
Yes, yes.
So that's something that I still learn how to do. I'm still trying to prioritize me, prioritize my family, my dog and my boyfriend, like trying to prioritize work, trying to prioritize my friends.
Yeah.
And that's, that's a lot. Like, it's hard. And I think being, I feel like I beat myself up a lot because I feel like I am not as, I'm not as available as I used to be. Like, my friends will call me and just try to catch up, and I'm like, oh, I'm at work.
Yeah.
I'm at work. Like, I'm just like, I need that to be like an auto send. Like, and I think that's another part of just like, talk to, being able to talk to people and keep your circle open and check in on your friends, like, check in on them and make sure that they're doing okay. And just, even if they're all at work, like, I'm very grateful that I have friends that call me almost every day just to be like, are you eating? Like, did you sleep last night? Like, so it's just like finding that circle. And I think that's a huge driver for me, is also my friends and my family, and just wanting to be around them and wanting to be my best self around them.
Yes.
And you can't do that if you're not taking that time for yourself and keeping yourself and your mind healthy and happy.
Yeah.
I like to combine words.
I like that. Healthy. Help yourself and stay healthy.
Healthy.
Boom. Somebody see if that is a website domain. We need to purchase it right now. Very successful. Yes. No, that is that's so crucial, and I love that thought of like, because I as you're saying, those, when do you find that time to like check in with friends and have those conversations and goof off, or it's like, for me it's like a goof off thing of like, I'm gonna talk some shit with some friends,
like,
and
the time that I can like totally be myself and the most not like, I know that no one's gonna judge me, and I can literally just like, and you need that. You need to be able to do that.
Yeah, I feel like I do that in the car often on my way to different places, where I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, all right, I'm going to my next appointment. Or I like try to track people down. I called this guy today to like ask about like general liability insurance for a resort, and I'm like, like, I'm just trying to get him on the phone. I'm like, I'm going to call him at 8:13 in the morning. Like,
trying to schedule them.
Yes, because it's like I can spend all day trying to like, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to set up a time. We're going to talk. And, and then you're like, all right, like the most random time, I'm going to go for it. It's the interim in between like set,
Definitely. And sometimes that's just it. Like, I mean, sometimes I go into work like feeling like the most unproductive human, but then I'm just like, you got to do it. Just sit there and just do it. And, that's just that's just life.
I know. But the schedule maintenance, I know I've definitely scaled with a lot of like my growth experiences of, thinking that I don't have the capacity to, schedule things, or I'd see if I had several things blocked out in my schedule, it was like a panic of like, wait, like that's my life. Like, I don't want to do all that. Like, who's putting me? And I'm like, I'm setting myself up to do these things. Like,
you're like, did I do that? No.
Yeah, and like I'm just thinking of like, I put my calendar on Madeline's phone so that way she knows what I have going on. So I'm not like, well, today. So she's like, today I have a meeting with Bruce. Okay, like whatever. I'm really busy, but like, just finding, like the right caliber or quality of, if I'm setting a time aside for me, like then I'm blocking it out as though it's one of my other important, like a prospecting call or anything else that would be included with the role. But that balance of
I feel like I used to like stack my schedule of like I just want to get everything done in like a 4-hour period, but I think I'm starting to realize now that like, no, I need to like take an hour, like go get a coffee, like you don't need to back to back like on the phone like for 4 hours straight, like you know how to like, I know how to time manage. I just have to remind myself.
And it sounds like you're learning more and more what you need to feel sustaining and feel good. Where the next day you're not like, oh, wait, I didn't eat or I didn't whatever.
It's exhausting, I mean, I'm 24 and I'm working. I work a lot, and but I'm passionate about what I do, and I love what I do, and I think I just want everyone to be happy in what they do. So that's what I try to remind. I try to portray that.
I love it. Yeah, you're like, let's take care of ourselves and then take care of one another and be able to thrive and rise together.
Absolutely, definitely.
This was awesome, Rachel.
Thank you.
How can people get in touch with you, or
yeah, you can. I'm happy to give you my email. That's probably the best way.
Let's do it.
It's Rachel, or start over. R Starling, STARLING at PPHG, like Patrick Properties Hospitality Group, Charleston.com. So it's R Starling at PPHGCharleston.com.
Awesome.
Thank you. I had such a class. You guys are awesome.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you so much. And for all of our listeners and our viewers, if you enjoyed this, or if you have any further questions, please be sure to like, subscribe, add comments, rate this episode, all things. And thank you. And we hope that you live a life filled with passion today and make some stories worth telling. Cheers.
Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.